The disciples walked with heavy hearts, troubled by the indifference growing among people in distant villages. They sought Buddha's wisdom. Ananda spoke with urgency, "Master, kindness fades. Fear reigns." The surrounding air seemed heavy with dissatisfaction. The natural harmony interrupted by restless minds searching for something greater. Buddha sat quietly, his composed presence radiating serenity, and he watched their expressions as they poured out their concerns. He gestured toward the earth. Each of us is bound by invisible threads. Yet fear blinds us to this sacred truth. "Master," another disciple interjected, "how can these threads be revealed when selfishness dominates and unity seems distant?" Buddha's smile held both compassion and resolve. Selfishness arises when fear drives the soul into isolation. It is an illusion of safety. "Ananda," he continued, "imagine a man trapped in darkness. He fears the unseen, but light would dispel his terror. Our teachings are this light," Buddha said gently. "When shared, they reveal the threads that unite all beings as one." The disciples listened intently, absorbing each word like a seed planted in fertile ground. Silence enveloped the gathering. Buddha pointed to a tree shedding its leaves. "Nature reflects truth. The tree sacrifices its adornment for renewal. Humanity must do the same. Shed the weight of fear," he added, "and learn to embrace openness. Through courage, hearts will rediscover warmth and kindness." Buddha continued, "Greed is another shadow cast by fear. It grows when the mind believes scarcity dominates over abundance." "Ananda, how does a vessel gain water?" Buddha asked, turning toward him. "Through being open. Only openness allows replenishment. Those who give freely unlock abundance," Buddha explained. "Kindness multiplies, like seeds scattered across fertile land bringing forth a harvest." The disciples reflected deeply. Each phrase Buddha uttered illuminated their path forward amidst the coldness spreading in their world. In isolation, Buddha said, suffering amplifies. Togetherness lessens burdens. A shared load feels lighter for every soul bearing its weight. He addressed them as teacher to students. What virtue stands above compassion? Compassion dissolves walls, forging bonds that cannot be broken. A disciple asked, "How may we awaken compassion in those hardened by loss or despair?" Buddha nodded solemnly before answering. "Begin by living the example of compassion," he advised. "Extend kindness without expectation, proving its power through silent generosity. Each act of kindness is a whisper," Buddha explained, "that echoes in the hearts of others, awakening dormant virtues. As seeds need soil, souls need kindness to grow," he said, spreading his hands wide. The Buddha nodded, a faint smile gracing his lips, and turned his attention back to the disciples gathered around him. Ananda rose, his heart filled with a newfound resolve to walk the path the Buddha had illuminated for him. As he departed the monastery, the fragrance of the sala trees seemed sweeter, their blossoms radiant under the amber skies. Each step felt lighter, as if he were not merely leaving but beginning a journey towards a deeper, truer fulfillment. Buddha turned toward a distant village. That village suffers cold hearts. You, disciples, possess warmth capable of rekindling their inner fires. Engage with those who fear connection, Buddha instructed, and remind them they are never alone within this sacred tapestry. Remember, disciples, Buddha added, connection requires courage. Every act of courage awakens dormant kindness, spreading ripples across divided shores. A disciple rose and asked cautiously, "Is courage a teaching all can embrace? Or do some find fear insurmountable?" Buddha regarded the disciple tenderly. "Fear deceives, whispering lies of separation. Courage listens to truth, not to illusions that divide. The journey of courage begins small," he continued. "A single step, taken with conviction, can bridge even the widest divide." His gaze softened further. Celebrate each step toward connection. Disciples. Each step erodes fear's power and strengthens bonds among humanity. Buddha then shared a parable. A lost traveler feared rejection yet asked for shelter. A kind stranger offered warmth, saving both through kindness. Both the giver and receiver are transformed, Buddha said. Master, its balance feels serene, Ananda admitted. Though I overlooked such wonder before, blinded by my preoccupation with expectation. Buddha nodded, his approval evident in his steady expression as he guided their minds deeper into nature's subtle lessons. Through understanding, separation ceases, and unity thrives. Night approached, but the disciples remained resolute. Buddha gestured again, this time toward a stream nearby, its waters glistening under sunlight, its flow both steady and melodic. Listen carefully, Buddha instructed. Its current carries rhythm and story alike, whispering unity within the fragmented pieces of existence. May courage guide you in sharing this truth with the world. Another day. The disciples returned to the forest, their hearts burdened by witnessing indifference toward a suffering traveler in need. Ananda began, Master, we saw kindness denied to a man pleading for aid. Why do people turn away so easily? Buddha listened with quiet patience, his eyes reflecting infinite understanding. He motioned for the disciples to sit and began speaking. Ananda, kindness is like a river. When blocked, it stagnates. Only when flowing does it nourish all it touches. Sariputta added, Master, the villagers seemed fearful, as though helping the man would bring harm upon themselves. What drives such fear? Buddha responded, fear roots itself in ignorance, whispering falsehoods of scarcity and separation. It blinds the heart to abundant truth. He continued, imagine a man hoarding seeds, fearing famine. Yet, in hoarding, he denies the earth's power to yield plenty. The villagers hoard their kindness, Buddha explained, forgetting it is inexhaustible when shared. By withholding, they impoverish their spirits. Another disciple asked, Master, how can we rekindle kindness in hearts hardened by fear and isolation? What path should we follow? Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as if seeking within himself an answer both timeless and timely. Then he spoke, compassion begins with understanding, Buddha said. To rekindle kindness, you must first understand the suffering that extinguishes it within others. Disciples, Buddha continued, a flame rekindled burns brighter. Approach those in fear not with judgment but with warmth to awaken them. He narrated a parable. A lonely man feared strangers, barring his door. One day, a visitor left a meal outside silently. The man, touched by the gesture, began leaving food for others. Each act of kindness restored warmth to his heart. Kindness is contagious, Buddha explained. Each act plants a seed. When nourished, it grows into an unshakable tree of compassion. Sariputta asked, but Master, what if some refuse kindness despite our efforts? Should we persist or accept their coldness? Buddha replied, kindness is never wasted. Even if unreciprocated, it softens the edges of a hardened heart, creating possibility. He continued, patience and persistence are virtues. Like water carving stone, repeated acts of kindness eventually transform even the hardest surfaces. The disciples pondered Buddha's teachings, their hearts lighter yet focused on the challenge of bringing warmth to a disconnected world. Ananda, Buddha said, what does a torch lose by lighting another? Nothing. In giving, it gains the beauty of shared light. Kindness does not diminish when shared, he continued. It multiplies, creating radiance that dispels the shadows of fear and greed. Sariputta spoke again, Master, should we confront fear directly or focus solely on fostering kindness? Which path creates lasting change? Buddha answered, the two paths are one. By fostering kindness, you dissolve fear's illusions. for fear cannot dwell where love resides. He added, challenge fear with understanding and replace it with connection. This is the path to healing hearts and communities. Another day, the disciples encountered a woman shunned for her generosity. Her neighbors viewed her as foolish, inviting misfortune upon herself. Ananda shared the incident with Buddha, asking, Master, why do some condemn kindness as weakness? How can we counter such judgment? Buddha replied, condemnation of kindness stems from misunderstanding its power. Kindness is not weakness. It is strength rooted in truth. He elaborated, the strong heart gives freely, unshaken by criticism. The weak heart hoards, seeking validation through isolation and control. The woman embodies courage, Buddha added. Her generosity, though ridiculed, reveals her inner strength and commitment to compassion's transformative power. Celebrate such souls, he urged the disciples, for they illuminate the path for others to rediscover the beauty of connection. Buddha continued, judgment diminishes when exposed to consistent kindness. Led by example, and judgment will dissolve in the warmth of love. Another day, the disciples observed villagers working together to rebuild a damaged bridge, their collaboration rekindling a sense of shared purpose. They shared this scene with Buddha, seeking his wisdom. He smiled, his expression radiant with hope and affirmation. Disciples, this is connection's power, Buddha said. Through unity, burdens are lightened and fear is replaced with trust and cooperation. Remember this scene, he instructed, and remind others of the strength found in community. Together, you can overcome any trial. Humanity's bonds are its greatest strength, Buddha concluded. Nurture them through kindness, patience, and courage, and the world's coldness will fade. As the sun set, the disciples carried Buddha's words in their hearts, determined to spread the warmth of connection far and wide. Another day, the disciples ventured into a village where a woman shared food despite being ostracized by her fearful neighbors. They brought the woman to Buddha, hoping her story might deepen their understanding of compassion and connection among estranged souls. The woman bowed before Buddha, her voice steady, Master, I give because I remember the kindness that once saved my family. Buddha's eyes softened, his expression reflecting the weight of her words. Memories of kindness awaken truths that fear cannot obscure. Connection is rooted in shared experiences, Buddha said. When we see ourselves in others, the illusion of separation dissolves completely. The woman continued, my neighbors condemn me, saying I bring misfortune upon myself by helping strangers. Their words cannot dissuade me. Buddha nodded with deep respect. Criticism often stems from fear of change. Courage shines brightest when it withstands misunderstanding and judgment. He turned to the disciples. Disciples, learn from her courage. It is in this clarity that true action begins. Rahula nodded slowly, though doubt continued to tug at the edges of his thoughts. Actions speak louder than teachings. Live kindness, and others will be drawn to its light. He narrated a parable. A lamp in darkness attracts travelers. Though surrounded by night, its flame grows as it lights others. Disciples, your flame is kindness. Each act fuels another, illuminating paths where fear had cast shadows before. The woman listened intently as Buddha continued, your kindness is a reflection of truth. Truth resonates with hearts, even when minds resist. Buddha addressed the disciples again. To foster connection, meet each soul with understanding. Judgment closes doors. Compassion opens them. Another day, the disciples witnessed a quarrel over shared water rights. Division grew, tearing apart the fragile fabric of the village. They described the scene to Buddha, seeking guidance. Master, how do we mend a community splintered by greed and distrust? Buddha listened quietly, then spoke. Division arises when individuals forget their shared humanity. prioritizing possession over the well-being of the whole. He gestured to a river nearby. A river flows, nourishing all without reservation. Its purpose is fulfilled through giving, not withholding. Teach the villagers, Buddha instructed. That shared resources bind them. Division weakens, but unity strengthens. Connection nurtures prosperity for everyone. Sariputta asked, Master, how can we resolve disputes without escalating conflict or causing further division in an already fragile community? Buddha answered, approach with humility. Listen deeply to each side. Understanding precedes resolution, and patience paves the way toward harmony. Disciples, he continued, recognize that compassion is both an action and a balm. It soothes wounds while forging bridges anew. Another day, the disciples encountered a traveler spreading stories of unity. His words inspired villagers to gather and work together harmoniously. They brought the traveler to Buddha, curious about his approach to fostering connection in divided communities. The traveler bowed. Master, I share stories that remind people of their shared struggles and triumphs. Unity grows when common ground is revealed. Buddha's smile reflected deep approval. Stories carry power. They weave threads of connection, bridging gaps created by fear or misunderstanding. He turned to the disciples. Disciples, use stories wisely. Through them, you can awaken empathy and kindle the dormant fire of unity, the traveler added. I've learned that people long to belong. Stories show them they are not alone in their experiences. Buddha nodded. Belonging is a fundamental truth. Connection thrives when individuals realize they are an integral part of the greater whole. Another day, the disciples noticed villagers caring for one another, offering food, comfort, and support without hesitation or expectation of return. They described this transformation to Buddha, whose expression reflected quiet joy. Disciples, this is the fruit of connection. Kindness becomes a natural state. Observe how generosity flows without coercion, Buddha said. Such kindness arises when individuals recognize their interconnectedness and mutual responsibility. Disciples, he continued, nurture this spirit wherever you go. Where connection flourishes, fear diminishes, and the world grows warmer. He concluded with a reminder. Remember always, connection is life's essence. Without it, humanity withers. With it, humanity thrives abundantly. Quote. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.